Hey, my name is Josh. Welcome to the Kind Workshop. I recently bought a Gym 11-inch sander slash polisher, and I bought it with the Shroud, and they said that the Shroud could come off, and I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to get the Shroud off. After literally using pry bars, I was able to figure out how to take it apart, and it sounds crazy, but you might actually need them. You might not, but you'll see why. So I just wanted to go through a little video about how to take this down because I searched Google and YouTube and everything, and I could not find a single video that showed how to take the Shroud off. And so there's gotta be probably 20 other people out there who bought this knowing you could take the Shroud off to go from sander to polisher, and then can't figure out how to take it off because there's literally no instruction manual online. There's no manual, user manual. I don't know why. They have brochures, flyers, there's no manual. So jump right into it. I'll show you how to take it apart, and that way you don't damage anything like I actually did, which is an easy fix with some super glue. It was just the pad, not actually any mechanical things. But check it out. All right, so the first thing, to be able to kind of get in here, I took off this, it comes with this little grill, this little brush grill around there. You just take the screws and little clips off, set those aside if you ever want to put the Shroud back on. This is just to keep the dust in, which is actually doesn't even reach the surface. So I guess that's good because it may leave marks, but at the same time, all the dust just goes underneath it when I used it. So that was kind of silly, but you take that off. Now, the idea is that this foam pad should pry off. You should be able to pull it off. Now, I don't know if you should be able to pull it off with your hands easily, but you are supposed to be pulling it off. So I got mine with this on here already. I've seen some unboxing it where this pad wasn't on the machine already, but it was on the machine. So I took it, I had to take it off to get the Shroud off, but this metal piece in here sits on this little cup, and if it's been on there for a while, which mine apparently has been, it was impossible. I mean, I had my fingers wrapped underneath and I was using this hammer, hitting the Shroud to try to knock this loose. Could not do it. I ended up using this mini pry bar. I think I was actually able to get this one underneath it and grab the metal and pry it up. And eventually, it literally just took 2 pries. Once it broke that little grip that it had on that, it popped off super easy. But I couldn't figure out if this metal ring was supposed to come off or not. But I ended up ripping the foam off just a little bit. So I just put some super glue on now, it'll be fine. But then you're here. Now, I already have this disassembled to make it easier for the video, but this bolt in the center is threaded opposite of what you would normally think. So to loosen it, you tighten it, and like you turn it what you would normally think would be tightening. And so, but this spins freely. So that, like, as you try to spin the bolt, this spins, and there's not, because the Shroud is here, there's nothing to hold on to. Like, there's no button, like on a router or on sanders and stuff like that. They'll have something that like locks the spindle in place so you can unscrew something. There's nothing on this to do that. So after like 30 minutes of dealing with this, I had my fingers under here. This kind of lifts up just a little bit. It lifts up a lot right now because this is unscrewed, but it lifts up a little bit, just enough to get my fingers underneath, and I could feel something spinning, like freely of this, but spinning as it rotated, and it correlated with the bolt head because there's a bearing here, so the bolt actually spins free of the plate. So you'll reach under and you'll feel this something spinning, and you need that to jam to be able to loosen the bolt. And so me, not realizing it was reverse threaded, kept jamming it and turning it to the left, trying to loosen it, and it felt like it was tightening. And it's really hard to get. So I used a crescent wrench that kind of, like most crescent wrenches, are angled up on one end. And so you want to have that higher part facing up. So you got to slide it underneath and then tip the higher part up because it's up inside the cup. So you gotta stick it in there, tip it up. Oh, it's gonna be hard. I can't really do it right now because I have the shroud technically is disconnected under all of this. So I don't actually have to do this for the video. But you basically pick this up and then you take your ratchet and you spin this until it jams. And then you, well, you have to do it the other way. That was the way I was doing it forever until I realized it was threaded reverse. So you jam it on this side, and then what would normally look like you're tightening it, you loosen the bolt, it eventually will give, and then you can literally just unthread it. And so this bolt then unthreads, this cup pulls off. There's 2 washers, don't lose those because that raises it up enough to not hit this metal piece. Then you have this guy, and this is what you were jamming underneath, obviously. And you have to take this off. And so, I don't know what size. There it is. I don't know what size this is. I have no idea. It's way too worn off to see. But there's an Allen key. There's 2 holes, one that bolt threads into and one that there looks like a set pin inside, but it's actually the spindle, the head of the spindle. And that is to lock the spindle in place while you can spin this off. And so instead of turning the Allen key as if you were unscrewing it, you spin this. I mean, I guess you could hold this and spin the spindle, but it doesn't really matter. You could take this off and then it's loose. Then you have 4 bolts here. I don't have it, I already have it unscrewed, but there's 4 little nuts and you just unscrew those nuts. I put them back on so I don't lose them. But then this shroud will come off. Finally, I can do polishing without having this giant metal thing possibly gonna damage the surface. Super sketchy. So I put the bolts back on, then you have to put this guy back on. The easiest way to do that is it just doesn't actually pop into anything. It has to be threaded on. So I like to hold this. Say I like to, like I've done this more than just 20 minutes ago. And then you want to thread this on. And once you get it on, you can just spin it, get it all the way down, tighten it. Boom. You don't want anything ever too tight, but get a nice little snug. Put your 2 washers back on. And then this cup goes up. And then your bolt, remember, threads reverse. And now you kind of have something to hold on to. You could stick something in here and tighten this down. Oh my God, I had that backwards. That nice and snug, and then slap your disc back on. Boom. Now it doesn't want to go back on. Man, these things like, if anybody actually watches this video, if you have this and you're trying to do this, tell me in the comments if yours was as hard as mine was to get off. Because this is like impossible. I might have to use this mallet to get this back on. Evenly. I guess it's not pretty even. Oh. Yeah, see all that stuff spinning in there? It's like, It's so ridiculous to try to get that to stop with that shroud on. So I hope this helps somebody out there to not have to struggle forever and like scream multiple times trying to get the pad off. Yeah, so good luck if you have this sander, and Steel Matt Cremona, happy woodworking.